Then, the 70s Cosmo, Wanda, and Jorgen, along with the other fairy agents in the giant rulebook, send back to the sky and everything flashes back to normal. The crowd, returning to its senses, ponders what they are doing at City Hall. They notice all the signs of Denzel Crocker, and because they were tricked into celebrating Denzel Crocker Day, they assume that they must be an angry mob. The crowd grabs pitchforks and torches, and then they chase Crocker off the scene. Timmy appears from behind the bushes with Cosmo and Wanda and quips that his plan did not work out the way he had hoped. He realizes that what he saw was not the reason why Crocker was miserable and still does not know what it really was, so he must go back to March 14th and stop the event from happening to find out. But just as Timmy begins to return his time scooter, 70s Jorgen lands his giant wand hard in front of him and stops Timmy from going anywhere. The 70s Jorgen then states that Timmy's meddling in the March of 1972 is finished, though it's actually Cosmo that meddled instead of him. Not to mention the fact that if they hadn't traveled back in time, Crocker would have been doomed anyway. Jorgen himself stood beside his 1970s counterpart and proclaims that after speaking with him, they have decided that Timmy is forbidden from ever returning to March in 1972. 70s Jorgen informs that Timmy, however, can time travel to any other month from April to December of that year, as long as he does not interfere with the election of President McGovern. Both Jorgen then zap Timmy and his fairies with their wands, which sends them back to the present with the cloud says, "Far out." Then the Jorgens glance at each other and say, "Disco? With myself? Outrageous!" before poofing themselves into a disco dance hall and dancing away disco style. Nearby, Crocker narrowly avoids the angry mob by hiding in a bush, then notices the words he scribbled onto the DNA tracker, "Fairy godparents exist." Crocker screams his first "fairies" as a montage of Crocker's life up until the present is shown in his scrapbook, showing him using the DNA tracker to snoop around his high school, and then the school as a teacher, resulting in getting chased away by his peers every time. As the montage of Crocker's life finishes, Timmy and his fairy sit in his room with the scrapbook on Crocker's life. Wanda shrugs and says, "Happy March 15th, and Cosmo tells Timmy that at least he helped give Crocker a lifelong hobby. Timmy hears a stick break outside and shushes his fairies. He then goes to his window, spots Crocker snooping around his yard with the DNA tracker. Crocker shouts that there are fairies about, and Timmy fearfully realizes that he had left the DNA tracker in Crocker's hands and using it to track down Cosmo. Luckily, Crocker is being chased away by the angry mob again, now consisting of a bunch of elderly people. Crocker appears and vows to prove fairies exist by catching one for himself, that they cannot hide from him forever, but Cosmo shoots a wand into Crocker's butt and chases him off, saying blah 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 as he aimlessly floats by with Crocker screaming, "Fairies!"